Hello and welcome to Q&A time, The Answers, Part 2. Matthew of Maybury Book Club asked, do you have a favourite French writer stroke novel? I admire Gustave Flaubert for Madame Bovary and Guy de Maupassant for his short stories, but I enjoy the novels of Alexandre Dumas. He asks, do you have a favourite Russian writer stroke novel? I admire Tolstoy and Dostoevsky, but I enjoyed Pushkin's novella The Captain's Daughter and other stories. He is regarded as Russia's national poet, but he is also an excellent storyteller. He also asks, are there any writers or books you prefer to read in the original? Yes, I prefer to read Somerset Maugham in the original. He also asks, can you talk about your travels? Favourite destination? Most exotic? I have visited 12 countries: Spain, France, Italy, Switzerland, Scotland, Wales, South Africa, Russia, Thailand, Hong Kong, Malaysia and the west coast of the USA. I spent 16 days on a 2,000-mile trip around California, Nevada and Arizona in the 1990s. I suppose the most exotic place would be Thailand. He also asks, are you working on a new novel? I have written 3 full-length novels, a novella, and co-translated 4 Russian textbooks. I have also written a children's book. The novel I'm particularly proud of is The Book Traveller, which is my most imaginative work and reflects my love of classic works of literature. Writing a work of fiction requires months of intensive and dedicated mental effort. Making booktube videos takes up all my mental effort these days, so no, my novel writing days are behind me. Coffee or tea drinker? Yes, I drink both. I drink tea in the morning and coffee in the afternoon. Can you describe your favourite sandwich? Smoked salmon and cheese. Brian of Bookish asks, what 3 books would you recommend to a young person 18 to 25 who came to you and asked you what books to start with to become a more serious reader? For novels, I would suggest David Copperfield, Pride and Prejudice and Barchester Towers. For short stories, I would recommend the collected short stories of Guy de Maupassant, the complete short stories of Somerset Maugham, and the complete illustrated Sherlock Holmes stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. For non-fiction, I would suggest early Victorian novelists by David Cecil, aspects of the novel by Forster, and The 7 Basic Plots by Christopher Booker. For poetry, I would suggest the collected verse of Robert W. Service. Armed with these 10 books, the 18 to 25-year-old will be up and running and can then explore the whole world of books to his or her heart's content. Sonia, of an enthusiastic reader, asks, who is your favourite female novelist? For me, Jean Plaidy stands head and shoulders above any other female novelist for the sheer quality and quantity of her work. Though often right into a formula, I find that her style suits my tastes. Cheryl Holsonbake asks, what is or was your profession? I was an accountant for 50 years. I was also an entrepreneur and started my own business in the 1980s together with my first wife, called Harlow Nursing Agency. I sold this business when I decided to emigrate to South Africa. Thea Elizabeth asks, how are you enjoying Year of Wonder? This is a fascinating challenge and has introduced me to a much wider range of composers and performers of classical music than I have ever encountered before, so I'm enjoying it very much. Megan Hannard asks, what is your favourite historical site in the UK? I gave this some thought, but concluded that the reason that I couldn't think of a favourite historical site is because I'm not attracted to buildings and things. I prefer people, so I will tell you instead my favourite historical person, which is William the Conqueror. He had the stigma of being illegitimate, but in spite of overwhelming odds and against all probability, he became Duke of Normandy, and then, overcome further overwhelming odds, he fought his way to the crown of England. So the lesson is that no matter how humble your beginning or how unfortunate your birth, you can still make something of your life with determination and effort. Isa 1852 asked, I would like to know your 3 favourite authors. They are W. Somerset Maugham, Anthony Trollope and Jean Plaidy. Alba of Serial asks, how did you arrive at the format for your channel? For the first 3 months that I produced videos, I had no editing software. When I looked at videos on how to use editing software, I was left more bewildered than when I started. So it was not until Mel of Mel's Bookland Adventures posted a video on how she used Wondershare's Filmora 9 editing software that I discovered that I could do that. And so I bought the software, and the rest, as they say, is history. In regard to content, I decided that I wanted to produce related series, and I came up with 5 of them. However, my channel content is still evolving and changing. Madlyn of Made with Books asked, what was your favourite book as a young boy? The one that has stayed with me the longest is Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. The characters are so vivid. What's your favourite video that you have done? I quite like the original tag I created called the 10 Booktubers Personalities Tag. I will leave a link in the show notes below. And she further asks, and will we ever get to see more of your lovely wife? There is a link below to a video that my wife posted which features a picture of her. The song is a very beautiful Russian love song called Love's Melody. Enjoy. Lucas of Strike the Sun MD asks, what was the first book you read that moved you? To answer this question, I'm going to tell you that the first 3 authors whose books I remember reading when I first joined the adult library at the age of 13 was Agatha Christie for her Poirot novels and short stories, Earl Stanley Gardner for his Perry Mason novels, and P.G. Wodehouse for his Jeeves and Wooster novels and short stories. The book that had the greatest influence on my life was reading the King James Version of the New Testament when I was 16. Kelly of Books I'm Not Reading asks, why do you think Middlemarch is a masterpiece? Thank you for this essay type question, Kelly. The answer must therefore begin in the prescribed format. The reason I think George Eliot's Middlemarch is a masterpiece is because when I began reading Middlemarch, I was enthralled by this masterly writer. I became totally involved in the character and attitudes of Dorothea and Celia Brooke. The hopes and concerns of Casaubon and Sir James are totally involving. The proposed marriage of Dorothea and Casaubon, with Dorothea's illusions and Casaubon's doubts and passionless attitude, look forward to disaster. Even though Middlemarch is very long, Nevertheless, it is involving and enjoyable throughout. For a more thorough analysis of Middlemarch and George Eliot's work, I could highly recommend David Cecil's 45-page essay in Early Victorian Novelists. Una of the Codex Cantina asks, I'd like to ask about how you film. Can you share with us what you plan in advance before you hit record? Do you script anything out or just let things fly off the top of your head? I just open the top of my head and it all flies out. If only life were that simple, Una. I've published 147 videos, only one of which was unscripted. I will leave a link to that video called 10 Dusty Old Books in the show notes below. I have a 31-step checklist involving 3 major processes. In the first process, it all begins with the idea. Then I research and write a script, download book and other images, create slides and a thumbnail, and then film the video, adding in the intro card and export the video into a file. In the second process, I import my video into my editing software, and here is where the fun begins. I have a 10-point checklist for this process, which involves cutting, adding text box, images, transitions, rendering and exporting to file. Finally, on the scheduled day, I import the video into YouTube, which itself has a 12-point checklist. Check and amend title, copy and paste description, add tags, upload thumbnail, add info and end cards, copy and paste subtitles, and publish. It sounds like a lot of work to produce one video, and sometimes it is, but I've got the process to the stage where it becomes automatic and I enjoy it. And finally, Jack, the rambling raconteur, asks, is the London Journal your favourite of Boswell's journals? If so, what is your second favourite volume period of his? The London Journal is the most deliberately artistic of Boswell's journals and is therefore the most enjoyable. Boswell in Holland 1763 to 1764 and on the Grand Tour in Germany and Switzerland 1764 are also really good. The first for his on-again, off-again love affair with Belle de Zeilin. The second for all the famous and interesting people he met or saw on his grand tour: Frederick the Great, Rousseau, Voltaire and others. And now here's a quick recap, and I'll be back soon with another BookTube video.